I think one of the best ways of describing what LNbits is as a WordPress for your node. For anyone who's familiar with dealing with WordPress, you start off with a very simple website, and then by using all these different plugins, you extend it in any direction which is relevant to you and what your needs are. LNbits is the same. It's a very simple wallet account system, and depending on what your needs are, so say if you're a shop, for example, we have all these different extensions. So you could install a point of sale extension, or if you're a video content creator, you could install an extension for helping you create videos and accept tips in your videos. It was always the plan from the beginning of making LNbits to have a very similar experience to WordPress, in that you could search for an extension or plugin and then install it, and it would go and pull the plugin from somewhere and then install it into your LNbits. However, up until this point, to kind of keep life simple, and because we've had a limited amount of extensions, we just kind of packaged them all in the software. But a good problem to have. Now we have so many extensions that actually that makes it quite cumbersome and bloaty. So we've been forced to do what we initially wanted to do, which is to pull out all those extensions. So now when you install LNbits, you just have the wallet account system. I'm using, this is the super user account which you get when you first install LNbits. You can also use an admin account to install extensions if you wish. But if you look now, when I click on extensions, look at that, beautiful. No extensions in there. Completely clean, simple core LNbits which has been installed. And that's an important point to add actually, that the more extensions you install into something like LNbits or WordPress, the larger your attack vector is going to become. So this way you can just install the extensions you need, and you can limit that attack vector and the size of that attack vector. So if we want to install an extension, we now click on add extensions, and we have a big list here of, this is kind of like a pre-packaged list of vetted extensions from extensions which we've looked at, the LNbits developers have looked at, and we vetted and we've said yes, these extensions are okay. Well, this is kind of like a pre-vetted list of those. So if I'm going to install an extension, such as this Gertie extension here, I can click on this, and then click on install. Now what that went and did is it actually went and fetched a zip of the Gertie extension repo, and then pulled it into LNbits and installed it. So every time they make a release, they have to submit that to a GitHub repository, and then that's how the releases will end up here for me to be able to install. So if I install another extension like TPOS, for example, then we should see, there we are. Look how quickly that installs. It's amazing. It's automatically activated. You can deactivate it. What this means is now our users on our LNbits install, so you know, your friends, family, someone out there in the world who uses your LNbits install, they only have access to those two extensions. They're the only two extensions which they can use. They can go look at the other extensions. This is a way of us showing how many extensions are on LNbits and FOMOing your users. But they can go and look at the other extensions, but they can't install them. All they can do is use the extensions you've allowed them to use here. And don't forget as well, with LNbits now, you're able to limit the access to extensions as well further. If you go to your managed server and then you go to let me have a little look, server, then here you can select different extensions which you only want admin to have access to and not the rest of your users, and then yeah, you can kind of limit access that way as well. So it's really, really nice. As I said, this comes pre-packaged, LNbits comes pre-packaged with a list of extensions we have vetted. The way those get vetted for extension developers out there, and then also for anyone who's just interested, is we have LNbits extensions, and we just basically have this big JSON. So when someone wants to add an extension or a release for an extension on here, they have to PR this repo, and then us lot will look at it, we'll vet it, we'll run it, see if it works. And they also have to submit a hash as well, so we can prove that this is the exact version of that extension which we're vetting. And then if we check it out and it works, and they're not just, the extension isn't doing anything fishy, then we'll allow it to be added to this manifest. And then all those LNbits installs out there will get the most recent up-to-date version of that extension, or the new extension which has been submitted to this list of vetted extensions. Now, this is our list of vetted extensions. This is a bit like when you install WordPress and you can install all the plugins, but if you want to, you can install your mate's dodgy plugin which hasn't been vetted yet, that's fair enough if you want to take that risk with your LNbits install. So we have an extension here I'm quite excited about, which is a Strike extension, and this allows you to push payments to your Strike account. I haven't tried it because I think Strike doesn't work in the UK, but there we go. And if I click on, all extensions have their own repo now, and they will all have their own manifest.json file. So here can you see they've got a small version of that manifest file. If I click on raw, and then if I just copy this here, I think I've actually already done this. Then if I go to manage server and then go to server, oh yeah, look at that. You can see here I've already done that. So if I delete that and save, and then go back to add extensions, we should see no Strike extension here. See? No Strike extension. There we are. Now if we go to manage server again, and then we add that manifest file to that, hit enter. This is the manifest file which LNbits comes packaged with. That is this big fat file here. But I've just added one for my mate's dodgy extension, which hasn't been tested yet. Click on save. Now when I go to add extensions, and I go down, here we go, we get that new Strike extension, and I can manage and install it. There's a link to the repos, by the way. If you go to manage and then install, and then you click on the release notes here, then you'll be able to get a link back to the actual extension which you're installing. Well, I might try and make that a little bit more obvious. All this, by the way, is the great work of Vlad Stan, one of the LNbits contributors, so big hats off to him for making this possible. And then with all the help from DNI and Kali as well to iron out all the creases. It's been a bit of a slug. Pulling out all these extensions has been a slug, but the software is about 20,000 times better. So if we now, as a regular user, if I refresh that page, there we are, I have access to that extension, and then hopefully click and open, and there we go, we can do whatever this extension does. I haven't tested it yet. So this now makes LNbits scale really well. It means that you can limit the amount of extensions which are on your install. So let me use your attack vector, and it also means that hopefully soon we'll be able to come out of beta. We can now lock down the core LNbits, get that audited, and then the extensions will be vetted and they'll be safe, but the actual core LNbits itself will be audited, and we'll be out of beta. So this is the goal, this is the dream. Thank you Vlad Stan and co for making this possible. Absolutely incredible. You know, thank you as a user of LNbits, and very impressive stuff. And we've had to do it. It's a good problem to have. We literally have so many extensions being submitted to LNbits now. If we were to package them all in with the software, LNbits would just become very bloated very quickly. So thanks for watching. Have fun with your LNbits installs. Don't install dodgy extensions unless you really trust the person who has the repo, because obviously it could you could open yourself up to losing some funds. But you know, feel free to install the extensions which we vetted. They're not going to do anything too dodgy. And if you are an extension developer, then there's some information on that repo on how you submit your extension to the vetted extensions to be listed into people's LNbits installs. Cheers, bye.